Do it.
Okay, we're recording.
We're recording the first episode of the political discourse. Discourse or Discord?
I think it's Discourse, isn't it?
Discourse? I'm pretty sure. It doesn't matter. It's one or the other. Hello, my name's Concealed.
The host with
It's
the most.
Broface, the host with the most, the boss, if you will, the man with all the money. Broface.
He does
And
have the top hat.
this is my co-host, Graidee, with two
Yeah.
E's. Subscribe
Hello.
to him, he needs it. He's living paycheck to paycheck. He needs the monetary gain.
Yes.
He's trying to pay off $50,000 worth of student loans, and the collectors are coming.
Yeah. The 10,000 forgiveness wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. That's why we need to talk about my ideals for free education.
Well, not free education, but the cost of education.
The college costs are amazing. And I've always held this belief, right? I always held this belief. There are two segments of education: necessary education and, like, fun education. Like, I'm going to get a liberal arts degree. That's fun. That's like, oh, I'm following my passions. And then there's, oh, yeah, I'm becoming an engineering student. Like, that's not fun, but, we need that. So I feel like you should have like a tier system. Like, these are the things we need the most. And if you pick the things we need the most as a country, you get a free ride, baby.
I don't know.
Well, they actually do that in some places already.
Yeah, with like grants and stuff.
I just noticed that my eyes on my character are the same color as the green screen.
Uh-oh.
Bro. That'll be cool. Whatever you add will be like on my face. It'll be like a whole bit.
But my idea with education is we need to privatize the loaning, because these loans, and maybe even regulate the price of colleges, because they're just charging whatever, and make it so there needs to be a credit score for the person borrowing the loan, because what you have is these 18-year-olds taking out like $50K worth of debt. They don't know what they're gonna do. But if you have it privatized, the bank will choose, oh, you're going for a liberal arts degree, that's not going to get you a job, so you're probably not going to pay the loan back, so we're not going to give you this loan.
Well, that's right. They have like education discrimination, kind of. Like, what are you learning? We'll give you money based on it. That's interesting.
But it's like, yeah.
Oh, no, please continue.
No. So, when you privatize, because right now it's all subsidized by the government, but if it's privatized, you get competition. So right now interest rates for student loans are like 13% or more for some. And then outrageous. So what you could do is these banks could compete. Oh, I'll give you this interest rate, I'll give you this interest rate, and they'll compete to get a lower interest rate. Plus you can give an interest rate based on your credit score of the borrower, and also the degree that they're going for. Yeah,
that's good. What I'm thinking is less like price wise and more of like quality wise. So like, you go to the Institute of Arizona and you're gonna get in 100% approval rating, baby. But there, no one's gonna respect that degree. So you pay for higher degrees. Like, oh yeah, I went to Harvard. It's the same degree, and they basically have the same teaching format. But since I paid extra to get into Harvard, they're gonna respect it better. I think that's really weird.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
I think the higher education should just be like standardized higher education. I don't think you should respect some places over others. I feel like that's less like the business's fault and more the like actual institution's fault. I feel like, oh, we get paid less because we're a less known college, so we're just gonna have like minimum pay, minimum wage, minimum work ethic with our teaching. I feel like the teaching is worse because they get less money from the government, but they get less money from the government because their teaching is worse. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of the Institute of Arizona.
Oh, there's also something that I forgot to say is the price of colleges. So when you have these loans too, is the since people are over borrowing, they're overpaying for tuition, and so it just allows colleges to charge even more and more because the government's subsidizing it. So what
Oh
we need to
yeah,
do is regulate colleges, like price capping on tuition, maybe.
yeah, and even the businesses allowing, like, oh, you're from Harvard, that means you're a cool person. It's like, oh yeah, you want to be a Harvard student? Oh, we'll make you pay for it, and they can make you pay for it because businesses respect it. So, like, even businesses respecting higher grade colleges more than lower grade colleges in the social view is making them able to charge more. And I
Yeah.
think government, like, forcing them to pay like a certain amount would be good.
Hmm. Well, it's kind of already like that because with Ivy League schools, you're probably going to be paying double or triple whatever the regular state college is. That's why it's so like respected, I guess. But in a way, the only way to get into Harvard, like you remember that controversy with those celebrities getting their kids into Ivy League schools by lying about their sports and all that. Like the only
Oh,
way to get into those Ivy League schools is to be either crazy smart or you have connections and you're rich. What do you
even
think?
that, I mean, I think, yeah, I think the Ivy League schools are kind of a scam, but it's a
I
scam you can get
agree.
away with because of the social view.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else happened in the social view?
Oh,
Queen Elizabeth is,
not
uh,
here anymore.
non-alived.
Game ended, as they say.
Game ended at the age of 96. And I always have a saying, don't cry that they're gone. Just be happy that they were there for this long. 96 years, that's a good run,
Yeah, that is pretty good.
especially as a world leader.
Uh,
I mean, they got
did she
96 years of Queen Elizabeth.
really do anything?
Not really, no.
She just collected tax money and spent it.
But it's like they get like a face to their country. Like we don't. Every 4 years, the next turd is just shuffled out. Once shuffled in. Like
Well,
they got 96 years of like some no, not 96 years. She was not queen for 96 years. She was
for
queen for
70
like
years.
yeah. So they got like over 70 years of a public figure to represent their country and it wasn't a bad one. So, hey,
Well, well, even
that's pretty
like
cool.
what Canada, I think Australia even has her on their money.
Yeah.
uh,
But as
loyalist.
world leaders go, Queen Liz was a pretty good one. Yeah, she was a pretty good representative.
Did you hear about the controversy of the diamond on her crown or whatever?
I
That they're
didn't.
supposedly stolen from South Africa.
Well,
And
I mean, everything's stolen
yeah,
these days, right? I mean, our country's stolen, their country's
yeah,
stolen.
but there is a
Pretty much
bunch of
feels.
people on Twitter saying that they should return the diamond and or something. It's worth 400 million.
She stole a diamond from them. We stole an entire landmass from Britain. So I guess it works
Oh,
itself out even.
steal. I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, ripped with violent force out of the possession of.
Hey, they forced our hand.
Well, yeah, after we started throwing rocks at them and
Wow.
then tarred and feathered
The
their
Boston
soldiers.
Massacre.
Oh my goodness. Where like two of our people died. That was pretty violent.
Oh, that was propaganda.
Propaganda. We didn't start it. We're just keeping it going.
Speaking of
Uh,
propaganda,
propaganda. Yeah.
healthcare, big pharma.
Healthcare. Big pharma. Bro, big pharma. Do not get me started on big
Oh
pharma.
my,
The
big
cost of
pharma.
drugs. They won't regulate it, so they'll just run away with it. And you want to be angry at big pharma, but like if you got the bag, you can get the bag. Like if
Yeah,
they're not going to stop you, why would I stop?
I'm not for regulation, but it's just Big Pharma is just like
I'm
they're out of
against people
control.
not having any competitors.
But it's like
The monopoly.
no, but it's like for life-saving drugs, like they know you need it, so they'll just charge the insurance. They'll just juice the insurance like as much as they can, and it's just insane.
Bro, I know. And it's like in America, like there will be. Did you just mute it so that you could burp without it getting to your microphone?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Poggers. Bro, that's like a 900. I still heard it, so it doesn't.
Oh. Well, OBS didn't, so.
Oh, okay. Well, uh, lost train of thought. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the problem isn't that they're unregulated. The problem is that there's no competitors. And if a competitor arises, I mean, who has all the money to legally red tape them out of business? Oh, Big Pharma. Lobbying. Lobbying is a
Oh,
scam.
I hate lobbying.
Lobbying.
Money in
It's
politics.
bribery.
It literally is. Just they put makeup on it and put it under a different name.
Just pay their way.
Yeah,
They're
that's
literally the fast pass users of the political world.
yeah, that could probably solve both the college issue and the healthcare issue because both
Remove
those
lobbying.
entities lobby the government so there isn't regulation against them. Which
like I don't want to single anyone out in Congress because I'm sure a lot of people do it, but like even insider trading is huge.
oh
Lobbying
yes,
is
Nancy
huge. Like
Pelosi.
they can just sit there and keep getting away with it because I mean, who's going to stop them?
Yeah, they make the
Career
laws.
politicians, they're there to get the bag, and I can't blame them because they can get the bag.
Yeah, I think they should outlaw politicians from taking lobbyist money and corporate donations and also ban them from stock trading because there was a bunch of politicians that sold right before the COVID crash because they knew they were going to shut down the government. It's like, how is that not insider trading? And they can get
And
away with it.
not even stop them exclusively. I mean, like direct family that you have contact with, stop them. If you're caught giving insider trading tips, that should be like prison sentence.
Yeah, I think that is.
That should be pretty heavy because I mean, it's a pretty big deal to take advantage of the American people. Like that's the American people are supposed to be the government, kind of. So basically, that's treason. If you think about it, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I think they should just be banned entirely from anyone in their family should just be banned. It's like, cause like, how do you have these politicians that are what they're making $300,000-$400,000 a year and they own like tens of millions of dollars in stock and real estate? It just doesn't make any sense.
I just think I've been researching some early Rome because it is just fun to research early Rome because I hold the belief that the United States basically is Rome.
Yeah, they ripped it off, kind of.
Yeah, so back then, like if you weren't a plebeian, like being part of the Congress paid dividends. Like you controlled the money. And I feel like any position where you can just sit there and control the money, you shouldn't be rewarded for being a senator. It should be like a burden almost. You shouldn't be like, boy, when I grow up, I want to become a senator and get the bag. It should be more like, you know what? It would cost me to become the senator, but my country needs me. It should be more like a duty thing and less like a, boy, I bet I could make a ton off this.
So you think they should have no wage?
I think they should have a wage, but it shouldn't be a very high one. It should be like a working class one, like 40K, 50K a year.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that idea. You have their wage based on the average income in the state that they come from, or whatever county they're from for the
Would
house.
probably be a good one. Because
Yeah.
really, they shouldn't get paid the bag to just sit there and tell us what to do with our money.
Yeah, they control the money. They make the laws about the money. What's funny too with Congress is every year when they do the budgeting, they always agree to give themselves a raise. That's the only thing that passes 100% of the time.
Because why not? It's like people I've talked to who are like hardcore Republicans are like the liberals are the bad guys, but our senators, we love them. I'm like, have you like heard Mitch McConnell talk?
Yeah.
Have you seen? Like, have you taken a good gander at Ted Cruz and his finances? Do you think this guy gets all that money from being a senator that he can just
Yeah.
abandon Texas when the snowstorm comes?
Oh, that was so funny.
What?
And also, yeah. You're
This
gonna
guy has
say,
a freaking vacation home, and he could just fly there, private airlines. Is this guy a senator? No, he's making the bag somehow, and it's definitely illegal.
yeah. What's funny is these senators, they have speeches, right? But for these speeches, they're paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's kind of like an excuse for like bribing them. So they'll be like, "Oh, give a speech for us, and we'll give you this much money, and hopefully you pass that law for us." Wink, wink.
But
It's like,
really, I mean, yeah, everyone wants to say like, "Oh, if I was a senator, I would be like clean. I'd be fine." I mean, it's really hard to get up there, and you don't make much money. And some guy's like, "Oh, all you got to do is like vote on this law, and we'll give you 200,000." And it seems innocent enough because it's a good law. Like who's stopping you from taking the 2K at 200K? Like not me. Like I'm up there. Yeah, I'll pass this law for 200,000,
yeah, if I
bro.
agree with it, yeah,
Why? It's illegal lobbying. So why would I not?
yeah, but it needs to be illegal.
No penalty, no penalization, free money. All I gotta do is vote. Like who's stopping these senators? Nothing. It's like the moral obligation, or $200,000 for a vote. I mean, it doesn't seem very appealing, the moral option, when you're being a senator for like no term limit.
Oh, the
How
term
long
limit
has
thing.
Nancy Pelosi been a senator?
Oh my goodness.
She's like the
Is-
Queen Elizabeth of Senate. Just keep going,
yeah, is she 96 years old?
bro. Let me Google it right now. How old
I think she's in her
uh,
80s.
is Nancy Pelosi? 82 years old, bro. How long has she been a Senate? How long has Nancy Pelosi been Speaker of the House? 1993 to 2000. 30 years, bro. There
Wow.
needs to be term limits.
Also, Joe Biden, when he was a senator, he's been in government since I think
It's
the
forever.
Nixon administration.
Since back when he could be openly like not politically correct and get away with it.
Yeah, it's
It's just way too much, man. I mean, every other country in the world's like, oh yeah, 6 years, 8 years. Even our presidency, it's like 4 to 8 years. And then senators, they can just make the bag for their
I
whole
know.
lives.
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
no, what were you saying?
Yeah, but they don't have term limits, but the issue is I mean, I don't know if it's an issue, but it's like what's it called? I mean, people could vote them out like any voting season or whatever. But there's other like the gerrymandering and stuff, the way they manipulate the vote like that is just insane. And
Yeah, but
also
even oh no,
oh and also the two-party system. It
oh,
is
I was
just
about to say that. So yeah,
other countries have like what multiple like they have a bunch of parties in Congress at the
even
same
Britain,
time.
bro.
Because what it does, it's like it puts evil versus good, and if you choose this side, you're evil. But if you choose this side, you're good.
Exactly.
And it happens on both sides, and it puts you in this black and white situation, which is just terrible. What do
The
you
founding
think?
fathers were like, two-party system will destroy this country. And then we're just like, yeah, I think the two-party system really is the best way forward if you think about it.
Yeah, but it's like we're trapped in this. Like we need a way out.
No one wants to think anymore. They just select red or blue, really. It's just nice color coded, like coordinated there. Nice split, because issues are always black and white, of course, or red and blue, if you will. So, like, oh yeah, I think that maybe we should take a look at healthcare. Okay, so do you want healthcare to be free, or do you want everyone to have to pay for it? Well, you have to pick a side.
Yeah, I know.
Do it.
And
Do it right now.
it's really tearing America apart. And
We can't keep getting away with
because it's like
this.
you have people like you have Bernie Sanders or whatever.
Oh,
He's
Bernie.
he's more left, than like Mnuchin or something, but they're in the same party, but they have probably two differing views. And you know, it's like
But
you
like
have
they won't have their way in the Democratic Party. I mean, like even if you are like Democratic, but you're also like incredibly liberal left, you're still going to have to do the moderate left politic voting because you won't be able to do any of your own policies or you won't get reelected next year.
yeah, that's true.
Like they're trapped within their own party and the way they want to think.
What I'm trying to say is like they should split up more. So it's like they should have like Democratic Socialist Party, like Liberal Democracy Party, and like multiple left parties and multiple right parties. Like I don't know, like Conservative Party, Libertarian Party, like stuff like that. You know?
That's why I was so surprised when Joe Biden was going to pull us out of the Middle East. I was like, yeah, wow, I get it. Like this guy's finally doing something that isn't terribly far left politics. And then he fumbled the bag, and it's like, well, never mind.
Yeah, something he did too that
Yeah.
isn't far left is he because usually Democrats in the past told the Federal Reserve to like not do their thing and let Congress decide, but
Mm.
this time around they're letting the Federal Reserve do their thing and not let Congress decide, which is more of like a right wing thing to do, I guess, is what
Which
they
is,
say.
it's very fun when I see like a right wing person like Donald Trump do something that's left wing, like government standardized vaccines. I was like, wait, that's not a like freedom policy. That's
Or
like an
like
authoritarian policy. That's interesting.
the stimulus check thing.
Yeah, or like Donald Trump doing the stimulus, even though everybody knew it was going to crash the economy.
And then Joe Biden had a second stimulus, and then it was just like, oh.
Yeah, but I mean, big pharma made a bag on that vaccine too.
I think what the issue was with the whole COVID thing was the what's it called, the PPP, or the PPP loans or whatever. They're giving out like hundreds of thousands of dollars to companies and just completely forgiving the loan, no interest. That's like they're just asking for inflation. It,
I have a bit of a conspiracy theory. I don't want to go off the rails, but
oh,
I think a few of those booster shots they threw in just to make some bag off the government.
probably.
I think like around the fourth and fifth one, they were just like trying to make the bag. I've never seen like a shot where you have to get that many, except for like the flu shot.
The
But
thing with
I think they were trying to make the bag.
Well, yeah, they probably did, but what their stock price went up during that, but now it's all crashing, sadly.
Yeah, inflation causes a couple of fun things like homelessness, which reaches into
Inflation,
our
homelessness,
yeah,
yes.
homelessness, the economic housing crash that's bound to happen sometime soon.
The
I'm
housing
ready for
crash.
that.
I don't know if we're gonna have a housing crash. I'm gonna be
Man,
honest.
one can only hope.
Yeah, I hope there will be, so I can buy a house.
So
but
I
it's
could
like,
buy a house somewhere in the near future.
but it's like I don't see it because the way they do like loan auditing now is they're very strict with it. Unlike during 2008, they weren't really strict. Like they wouldn't check income at all or credit score or anything. Like they just give you the loan. You can do like zero down and get the house still. It was crazy. But now it's like very strict.
The stigma back then, like back in the day, early 2000s, was, oh, you live with your parents? Pros nerd. Like, get a
Yeah,
house.
now
Like, now it's like, oh, you live with your parents? That's cool. Me too. Like,
like
everybody needs to huddle together.
yeah,
Like,
it's called
oh no, please continue. I was about to say something
oh
interesting.
no, you say something.
Okay, so, uh, Israeli families and Hispanic families, what they'll do is they'll have generations inside of the same household so they can just pay for it nice and easy, like multiple incomes, tons of income.
Mm,
Like that's what we have to do now in 2022. Like it's
yeah, I
not like
hate
a
it.
good idea to get cheap housing. Now it's like a necessity, like six roommates, one leaves, we have to forfeit the whole house.
Actually,
That's what happened with my cousin Morgan. Like he had like four or five roommates in a single house, a couple of them left, and they had to like move back in with their parents because it was just too
Oh,
much.
that's rough. But I had an idea. I shared it with you before, but like
Uh,
you turn residential areas, like say there's a burnt out lot somewhere in some busted house. What you can do is like you build these micro mini houses and have like a mini apartment complex on a residential lot. I don't know if it'll work or how the
oh,
zoning laws would work, but
the
it's like
red tape.
I feel like it would lower like rent prices because there'd be more volume on the market. So
There's just too much red tape, bro. You should be able to build a house like wherever.
I agree.
You should be
There's
able to
just
build
way
a
too.
house in the middle of the street, and if the neighborhood doesn't like it, they can just tear it down.
Well, I
Okay, maybe
mean
that's a bit too
within
radical.
reason.
Like Gary's mod, you could pick the homeless role in Gary's mod Dark RP, and you could build a house like anywhere that didn't obstruct traffic. I'm like, that should be the United States. You should just be able to throw up a house.
If you
But
own
it,
the
it looks
land.
ugly. The homeowners administration is a joke and a scam.
Yeah, I hate HOA. It's like I own the house. Why do you have to tell me how to take care of my house or what to do with my house?
I think using alias names is good, so I'm gonna call him Draft. I think Draft has an HOA at his house,
Probably
which is lame, but they live in like the most like Caucasian, if you will, rich,
suburb.
liberal Kansas suburb I've ever seen. And they suck at driving. So that's causation, maybe correlation. I don't know. Anyway, segue. The fuel prices are going down a little bit.
Fuel prices. I think they're
Yeah,
artificially going down.
which is what I thought. I was like, it used to be 350, now it's like 298. I'm like, this is weird. What's making it go down?
Oh, well, I'll share with you what's making it go down.
Oh, I'm listening. We're
The
ready.
strategic oil reserve. There's artificially lowering the price of gas by selling our oil that was stored up for emergency purposes. So, and
They're
also,
selling our oil
yeah,
that we need.
in emergency purposes or
Huh.
emergency situations. And we're like at a 30-year low or something like that.
So let me ask you a question. All right, let me lay out the groundwork. So we stopped drilling in Alaska. We shut down several pipelines, and
Did
now
we
we're
stop?
selling our reserve to China.
Well, we don't know.
So
I don't know if it's China.
it's to China. So who else are you gonna sell it to? Russia? Like the only two people?
India, I don't know it.
Bro, India ain't
Mexico.
buying oil.
I feel like any country can buy is buying oil, just on the open market or I don't
It's
know.
it's yeah, I don't want to like point any fingers, but it's definitely the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, they're taking
They want our
advantage.
oil gone.
Well, oh, I know something that's interesting to talk about is
Oh.
Russia shutting off oil to Germany and Europe in
Oh.
general. That is going to be an interesting situation.
To try to start World War III.
I think like and winter's coming up too and it's going to make things super interesting. Like
They're
how's
like Germany. They got a little taste of war. They're like, let's take it all. Oh wait, they are. Russia is the new Germany. Huh.
well, Russia's the new Russia. No,
Russia's the
well, I mean,
Russia's the same Russia as they've
yeah,
always
I
been.
know because there's I mean, during the Soviet Union Cold War days, they did take half of
They've never
Germany,
stopped,
so
not a single time.
they just want. Why does everyone want Europe? I just.
Well, I mean, it's funny how Russia constantly wants more when they haven't even like colonized their entire country yet.
I know. It's just. Well, most of it is just wasteland.
Like, figure out what to do with that tundra, and you'll have another 3/4 of a country.
It's like them shutting off oil to Germany is gonna spike oil prices in Europe. They're gonna have no electricity, no heating. What are they gonna use to fuel their cars? Even if it's electric cars, they still use oil for electricity. So it's like
I've got a compromise.
They're gonna be put into a deep depression.
Yes, deep, deep. Wait, hold on. The last time Germany was put into a depression. Okay. Well, put that one down for next week's topic when we're
Depression,
in the middle of
recession. I
World
don't
War
know.
III and the draft happened. Um, so I have an idea, right?
What's
So
your
you know how
idea?
Russia is poor as dirt and they have machine guns on the back of Ford F-150s as their military vehicles? And
Yeah.
China has a really bad overpopulation crisis to where you can only have like one kid.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so what if you sold half of Russia, the wasteland part, to China since they're touching? And so Russia wouldn't be poor anymore, and China wouldn't be cramped anymore. Think about it. Think about
I
it.
I don't know. That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. And then
Giving
Russia,
Russia more money to do what
yeah,
with?
China more land.
But it's like
And then when Russia builds its army, it can take the land back.
uh, the way Russia's army is performing in Ukraine. I don't know.
China
Kind
and
of an
Russia
L.
should fight each other so that we Americans can manifest destiny part 2.
we can
So we just
build from
take
the
it.
rubble.
We can just take it like Monopoly. Just swipe the properties. I think we need a little bit more land ourselves, actually, cracks Knuckles.
Oh, I know another topic we could talk about.
Oh?
North Korea and Iran.
Should we? Wait, what? Oh, North Korea and Iran with nukes. I'm not too worried about Iran with nukes because they really just like killing each other. I'm more worried about North Korea destroying South Korea, and then it just becomes Korea united, but not the way that's fun.
I don't know. In my opinion, if I were in those countries' leaders' positions, I wouldn't give my nukes either. Because I mean, what was it Ukraine? They gave up their nukes, and look what happened to
Bad
them.
idea. Maybe launching a nuke at Russia isn't a good idea.
No, they wouldn't be invaded in the first place. But the nuke is
Probably.
like it's both offensive and defensive, you know. So, and they signed a treaty. Ukraine signed a treaty with the U.S. and Russia to protect them if they ever get invaded. But look now, no one's fulfilling the treaty.
Well, it's because Ukraine is it's okay, so I don't know how to say this. It's being invaded, right? But you know, it's not being like Russia isn't going all out against Ukraine, I don't feel like. I feel like if Russia actually tried, Ukraine would not stand much of a chance, but they'd expend most of their military and then just be very vulnerable to anyone else who wants to start.
I don't know.
I feel like the reason Russia's losing this war so hard is because they're playing very passive in this war.
I think Putin was just doing like last resort kind of thing because Russia's economy was already falling off. Like, and
Not
also
the first time.
their population growth was falling off too. Their army was dwindling already. Like there's no one enlisting. So just like screw it.
Wasn't the USSR, wasn't it like dissolved in 1984 or something?
I think it was 99.
Bro, they had one economic crash, dissolved. They're about to have another economic. A lot of us are about to have an economic crash. It looks like politically.
Yeah, oh, yes, China's economy. Have you heard about that? With the whole real estate debacle.
I have heard whispers.
So with China, their real estate market is a massive bubble and is gonna collapse. And I think it makes up like 10% of their GDP. So their GDP is gonna collapse when their real estate collapse, and it's gonna be like it's gonna affect other countries. That's how big. It's like it's trillions of dollars worth of real estate that's gonna go to zero probably.
That is rough because it won't affect like the higher ups. It'll just affect the overcramp sardine can Chinese or working class. Every single Chinese working class person wears a suit and works in a 9,000-foot tower, it looks like, from all of the ads.
But it's like what's it called? Yeah, so I don't know when, but I have a feeling there's gonna be a massive like economic event globally because there's like so many things at play right now.
Great Depression, electric boogaloo.
So it's like Europe. Have you seen the Great British Pound recently too, and the Euro? They're absolutely
we have more
collapsing.
money than them.
I wouldn't say we have more money, but
well, it's worth for the time being, I think.
Yeah, it's almost a 1-to-1 for both those currencies, and before those currencies were worth like
1.26 per every dollar, wasn't it?
For what, the pound or the euro?
Yeah, for the pound.
No, for the pound, it was like the pound was like 130 to 1, and the euro was like 115 or 110 to 1 or something like that. But now it's almost 1
euro
to
to dollar is equal, and pound to dollar, which is like pound to dollar, is, oh my goodness. So it went down how far back is this? 1 year. Let's look 1 year. Yeah, it was 1.4 a year ago, and now it's 1.16.
The euro?
Yeah. Last year it was 1.4, the pound sterling, and now it's 1.16.
It's a massive bro moment.
Yeah, the euro was 1 year ago, the euro was 120. It went down 18 cents to the dollar. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Like, think about what, 10%, 15% of your dollar going down? That's a lot.
And they're gonna be printing even more money to like counteract Russia shutting the gas off and prices increasing like crazy. So yeah, pretty much screwed.
Yeah. Well, for all of you who are watching this, we are recording this on the day of the tragedy. So remember, don't forget, that's the American motto. All of the law enforcement, the firefighters, the lost life, just
first
somber
responders.
moment for the United States. Just take a moment of silence. Think
2 minutes of moment of silence.
And then keep making your terrible Facebook memes about how funny it was that nobody laughs at. You're not nearly as funny as you think you are. Okay, good. Now I've got my pretentious statement out. I love it when people do that. They're just like, you need to take this seriously. I am a good person. All right, back to making fun of the lost life.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, the influencers. They think it's funny to make fun of 9/11.
Really?
Like yeah, who? So many people think it's funny. Like Jay Schlatt.
Uh-oh.
Yep. It's time for Jay Schlatt talking. We love Jay Schlatt, but we also hate Jay Schlatt.
Did he
Whatever Twitter thinks of Jay Schlatt, we think that too. We are Twitter. We're the hive mind. Did he kill the... It was funny because he posted that plane flight picture 3 hours before they said the Queen was dead.
Yeah, a little sus.
A little sus. No, but like we were going to work that morning and the news was on and they were like, oh yeah, Queen Elizabeth's in like urgent care. And I was like, oh, nah, she'll be fine. We get home. Oh, she's dead. Uh-oh. Well, I guess she wasn't fine.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
And he was visiting in the UK.
Yeah, it's a bit surreal when you like think about it. Like you look at people and you're like, oh no, they'll be fine, I'm sure. And then they're just not fine because, the Queen's immortal jokes. And the whole she's been living for so long, she's fine. And then just disappears one day. It's a bit surreal. A bit, I've been talking about this while you think of another topic, so. Are you thinking about it?
What?
You got another topic? If not, I can insert one.
Or at 40 minutes right now.
All right, I got a topic. Ben Shapiro played Minecraft. Do you see that?
No.
You talked about how bad it was.
Wow.
One more reason to be angry at Ben Shapiro.
Oh my.
You didn't watch that video?
No.
Oh yeah, he was playing Minecraft and he's like, one of them asked, "Do you play video games, Ben?" And he goes, "No, because I'm a grown man with 3 kids.
And my wife's a doctor.
And my wife's a doctor." But I do watch Marvel movies religiously. And I also hate what they did with the new Lord of the Rings series, Ben Shapiro says. I also hate what they did with the new Lord of the Rings series, but not why he did. I thought it was just boring, and even more boring than the original series is.
Wait, did we ever go into detail about solving homelessness? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. We just talked about building affordable housing. That was
we didn't go into the details.
No, about solving it? No.
How do we go about solving it?
Bro, even the Bible said, yeah, you're gonna have homeless people like forever. Like, that's just how it works. I don't know if there is a way to solve homelessness. I mean, there's a way to reduce it.
I think there's a way to ethically and unethically get rid of homelessness.
I think there's a way to turn everyone into a hive mind using Elon Musk's Neuralink chip so that we can just all live harmoniously.
That would be interesting.
We're just like a colony of ants, and Elon Musk is the queen.
I don't know if I'd like that.
Build me a rocket.
It's like,
look at our hammers.
I'm just picturing Elon Musk as the one character in Wreck-It Ralph at the end. Turbo.
If we're all connected to Elon Musk through Neuralink, does that mean we'd all be as smart as Elon Musk?
That's what they were saying with Neuralink, is it you'd be able to increase your IQ. What do you think?
Back to homelessness, because I keep veering off of this topic for some reason.
How do we solve it?
As somebody who's been to one or more bread banks in my life, I can tell you that being poor is not pog. So how do we solve this problem? We have to first take a nice detailed look at how it starts. And it often starts because work is not giving enough money. Like, unskilled work is not giving enough money for the housing. And all of the Democrats are like, we need affordable wages. And I'm like, well, and then all of the Republicans are like, no, you don't need affordable wages. And I'm like, well, I kind of have to agree with these guys on this one. Nobody makes any money. And it's all just way too much money to buy a house, and too much money to buy food, and too much money to buy gas, and too much money to buy a car for anybody who's not working a college level job to make a good living.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, have the homeless people get a job. Oh, at a McDonald's, they make $11 an hour so that they can be homeless with a $200 paycheck at the end of the week. That's cool. I'm sure they'll be real happy with after tax screws them.
Yeah, taxes really screw a lot of the lower incomes.
You could be homeless. The IRS will screw you, and you will not get a return because you can't do your taxes.
Yeah, like, how are they supposed to get? Oh, I know how to get an address as a PO box and stuff like that, but it's like, I don't think it's entirely an economic issue. I think it's also like a drug and addiction issue and mental health too.
I think like being homeless is kind of like being silver on Counter-Strike. Silver 1. It's kind of hard to get to Silver 1, but once you're there, good luck getting out, Bo.
That'd be interesting about doing like a YouTube video or something.
I got out of being homeless, Silver 1.
Not like, well, I mean, kind of like that, but it's like you figure out a way how you would not be homeless.
But that's
like, what jobs would you take? Stuff like that.
Like, people aren't homeless because they don't, well, some of them are homeless because they don't have a work ethic, but a lot of them, they just don't know, like, how. Like, oh, yeah, I know if I can be successful, I can learn about it, and then I can become homeless and get out of it. But they're already there, and they don't know anything. Like, who's going to get over there and teach them?
Yeah, they need Hustlers University. No, I'm joking.
They need Hustlers University. Like, it's a really hard position because homeless shelters, they're kind of like what are they? They're kind of like school. They'll have you there and they'll like tell you things, but they won't teach you how to live life.
Yeah.
So
That's
a homeless shelter really needs to teach homeless people how not to be homeless.
Yeah, that's the same with welfare, because with welfare, you're not allowed to, like, save any money or invest any of the money. You're just
Or
stuck on
work while
welfare.
you're on welfare.
Yeah. I mean,
Because you're scamming.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's not. The government doesn't really help when it comes to getting people out of poverty. I don't know.
They like
It's
people in
more.
poverty and they like their votes, but they don't like, teaching them how to not be poor.
Yeah, we can't let the poors get money.
Because the big reason that like such a small amount of people own such a small amount of the money isn't because like of the oppressive nature of the economic system. It's just people don't know how to make money. And
Yeah.
nobody's gonna sit there and teach them how to make money.
The thing
Nobody's gonna
about
teach you how to make a business or like how to make a savings account or how to invest your money properly or how to save it and be financially secure. Like if your parents didn't do that, no one's gonna do that.
Yeah, they do have classes in high school, but things like kids today are so dumb. I'm gonna be honest. Like they'll just not listen to any of that. And it's like the standards are so low nowadays. No one cares.
Yeah,
It's like
a lot of
everyone
people
does
are
the
like,
bare minimum.
if they don't teach me how to live life in school or do my taxes, I'm like, well, you could just do a Google search on your phone,
Yeah.
you know. But nobody goes out of their way to teach it, and I feel like that's a big problem because you're like, oh, that's not important. I'll be fine. I'll be fine until you're not fine, and then you need to know it, and then you don't because nobody sat there and made you learn it.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like we need
real.
a more hands-on approach to education.
Well, it's up to the person, really. At the end of the day, if you really want to learn or not. 'Cause if you really want it, then you'll seek it out, you'll research it or something like that. But if it's just
Well,
you're spoon fed, it's just not gonna work.
that's why you don't see a lot of people with incredibly high IQs who are homeless. It's because like people who are really intelligent, they like seek out information. It nourishes them.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what to do. They know what to do because they looked for it. But the normal human beings, they can just be like really lazy. Like something happens, maybe it's not instilling as a child like a work ethic or learning, and then they just grow up and nobody's going to teach it to them now because they're not kids anymore. So they fall off.
Yeah.
I had
It's
a no,
go
please
ahead.
continue.
No,
Oh,
you go
okay.
ahead.
Only for you. No.
No, you go ahead. No.
Okay. Well, I had this really good idea
What's your
about
idea?
how to solve homelessness. Okay. Now this might be a bit oh no authoritarian, but hear me out. All right. We force homeless people into labor. Now listen. No, before anybody has any weird springing ideas, it is not pseudo slavery. What it is we force them into labor to teach them work ethic and we pay them and we house them. But the housing and payment, we hold them there. It's like a forced confinement till they learn how to not be homeless. So they can't just, continue to be idiots. That's the anti idiot policy. So we force them to learn a work ethic. We force them to have housing. And once they've graduated our class, we give them some housing and a job.
So you invented Soviet Russia.
It's like school, like higher education, like the workforce. But you know how immigrants come over and we teach them like English and our customs, and then we like hook them up with a job.
Yeah.
It's like that for homeless people. We teach them, finances, earnings, work ethic, and then we give them a job. And then as long as they keep that job, we'll just supply them some housing, until they get on their feet again. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
I don't know if you can teach a work ethic though.
Yeah, and they teach it in Russian work camps all the time.
What would you do about like the mentally ill and the drug addicted homeless people?
Okay, that's different.
I'm talking about the homeless people who are there because they don't know. The people who are homeless because like gambling addict, meth, heroin, not really the same because you actually have to put them in rehab for that. You put them through rehab first and then into the work re-education. And the insane people, mentally declined people,
Mentally handicapped people, that's another different thing because you can't rehab for that. That's a problem because I don't it's never good to, like, call someone a leech to society because they cannot help it. But it's hard to have somebody who doesn't benefit society and figure out what to do with them, because if they don't have family or friends who take care of them, they're just in a really bad
Yeah,
situation.
just up to the
Like,
state.
you need a community of people who will take care of you. Like, that's what we lost in America. We lost community, like familial bonds and stuff. Because if you have like some guy who's mentally ill or some guy who's like heavily Down syndrome, if you don't have a community around you or a family around you and you're like that, like what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
not your fault.
Like the whole family. Dominic Toretto was kind of right because it's like if you don't have that foundation, what could you fall back on? Like you
Yeah,
said,
not much.
your cousin moved back with his parents because he couldn't afford rent. But it's like
if
if
what
you
if you
didn't
didn't have
have a family,
yeah.
like where do you just end up homeless? So I
Mhm.
think what needs to be, I I don't know, but it's like they need something to fall back on, a foundation.
And if
Uh,
not family, like if not the nuclear family, then a stronger community, which is
yeah,
a big thing because
because you can have
like
friends
churches
too.
Used to be the thing, but that fell out. So like nowadays, I'm thinking of like there needs to be some form of community center. Like there needs to be community responsibility. Like the people should be in charge of things, like a town hall. This is starting to sound like a communist idea,
I think socialist
but
more like.
communism does have some good ideals. Like the working class do need to run things to an extent in their communities.
I think
Like there
that's where
needs to be
like
more community involvement
democracy comes in. But yeah,
because you can't expect the government just to run your state because they're not like personal. They're more they like overhead seeing things
on their high chair.
from their high chair looking down. Like there needs to be like if a road is broken down, we'll have the state union do it. I feel like your county should be responsible for the roads. And if you can't like provide somebody to do it, you should get a workforce out there of qualified individuals and you should pay for it. Like as a community,
Yeah, what
you should
some
take more care of your stuff.
what some cities were doing is they were like having what's it, bounties on potholes. Like if you fill in potholes,
Mhm.
you'd get like a cash payout or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's good because it also could like nonprofits could be doing that too. I don't know.
Like I
Maybe
had
do.
another idea where like, communities should have like a workforce, things that need to be done, like trimming hedges, mowing lawns, things like that. You could have like an office that have the homeless people in your community. You could put them to work with the community and pay them. Like you could have like a communal like things that need to be done. Like, oh, this building needs to be pressure washed. These like residential lawns need to be mowed. This tree is obstructing the road. Like just have a crew of homeless people and like a foreman, and then you have them like do the work. You pay them. Like it's a way to like sustain them and like
Yeah.
have them do some good work for the
The,
community.
the thing is, you can't force them because of the like the Constitution and all that
I
rights
mean, you
and
can't
stuff.
force them, but there's a lot of homeless people who need the work but just can't find it.
Yeah, if they can get clean and all that, and you can get them up on their feet, I think it'd be an excellent idea.
Like these days, there are so many people down on their luck. You could walk out into the middle of the street, walk up to a random person and say, "Hey," like if they look like more disheveled than everyone else, like, "Hey, I need some help doing such and such, like some lumber company or something. You want to help?" They'd probably be like, "Yeah, sign me up." Like, you have stuff that needs to be done in your community instead of having the state or like the county hire an expensive contractor that the taxpayers have to pay for. Have your community do it. Reinvest.
Yeah, but people are lazy. They won't do something unless they get something in return, which is just.
Well, yeah, have the taxpayers, pay for it to be done, but instead of having expensive contractors, just have like normal wage labor made up of, the disunfortunate.
Where's the money coming from? Just taxes?
Taxes. Remove federal tax. Only state tax.
The thing with taxes is I'd be fine with paying taxes if the government used it effectively. But the way they use the tax revenue, they just waste it. They put, like, for example, in California, they tried to build a bullet train that was like billions of dollars, and they just wasted all that money and never completed the project.
That's gross. They probably never intended to finish the project. Maybe that's a conspiracy theory, but maybe they just wanted the money.
Yeah, money in politics. We already talked about that.
I had this really insane idea I was talking to Brett about. No, it's not really an insane idea. It's just, it would be interesting. Dissolve the federal government.
So you want...
Think about it really hard. Do we need the federal government? No. The states are already separate entities. Why not just have 50 separate governing bodies? And in times of crisis, if you need an army, each state is required to give a certain amount to a federal army. That's about it. The federal government should be in charge of like a couple of things. Like an army, maybe a bank. Actually, Alexander Hamilton is stupid. We don't need a federal bank. What a bozo. Can we all get like L in the chat for Alexander Hamilton? Worst protagonist in American history.
I don't know if a full state thing, like all independent states, would be a good idea. I think the federal government does provide like unity.
Yeah, unity isn't always a good thing. It also provides unity? The Chinese Communist Party.
Because it's like, what if the states went to war with each other? What would you do in that situation?
You ever heard of a civil war? It's awesome.
It would just be chaos.
Yeah? Interstate commerce is so fun to think of that. Because we are just supposed to be the United States of America. Right now, we're one country. We're not really the United States anymore. Back then, we used to be a bunch of states who were united. Like, states used to be able to say no. States can't say no anymore. Money.
I mean, they can say no. It's just federal law trumps state law.
Like, even in like wars, people were like, "Yeah, we need more troops," and the states were like, "No, we don't want to do that," and also no money. Like, states should be able to do that. They should be able to look at the needs of their people and go, "No, I don't think we should do that." I think if not dissolving the federal government, the states should definitely have more power than they do right now.
I think to some extent on some things.
I think we should only have state tax, right? But of like a higher state tax, but the states can pay the federal government for things using a lot of money.
What happens most of the time is the federal government uses the federal tax money to give to states because the states usually go over budget and have no money.
Yeah, well, maybe if they didn't have anything to fall back on, they wouldn't go over budget so much, Ted Cruz.
I mean, if they didn't waste so much money.
Like, Texas doesn't have a state tax. That's so awesome. Well, where's the money come from? Yeah, you ever think about that?
Property tax? They have property tax.
It's coming from somewhere, don't you think, Schlatt? It's coming from me. I'm paying your taxes. I don't even live there.
No, they have high property tax. That's how they make up the money. And that's
we are almost reaching an hour of nothing but politics.
Wasn't the idea?
Might be a good time to wind down.
Really?
First episode, unless you want to do like 90-minute specials.
No, an hour is good.
All right. Well, I guess you take us out with an outro. Just like wing something.
Okay.
Don't just say a word and stick the stop recording button. That's bad.
That's the first episode of the what's it called? What do they call it?
The political discourse.
Discourse.
Discourse. I'll definitely know the name after the first video. Like, I'll look at the name. I'll get it like ingrained.
So should the outro be?
Thanks for
Thanks if you made it up
for
this
joining
far.
this discourse. This political discourse. The political discourse, if you will.
Yeah, the one and only.
Watch it, download it on Spotify. Josh is gonna put it on Spotify.
I'm
gonna make him do it. Yeah, I'm gonna make
How
him
do we
do it.
do that?
I have no idea. Just we'll watch a YouTube video. We'll join one of those education camps I was talking about making. We'll figure it out and upload it. All right. See you guys next time because you'll definitely rewatch. Bye bye.
Goodbye.